Hey everyone, this is Sabrina. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to be sharing another 3 days of December daily. This first one is day 6 and it is very, very simple. It comes together so quickly. And I thought to myself as I was making this that this is not very fancy, but you know what? It doesn't need to be fancy, and I just got to remind myself of that. And I'm sure you guys have to do that sometimes too with your projects, because these photos are extremely special. We have not had family photos taken in, I think, 3 years, and we were able to recreate some of the poses with the kids and all 4 of us that we did a couple years prior to this. I think 5 years. This is a spot we've visited before, but like I said, it's been a few years since we took family photos. So being able to get some done this year was absolutely just the best. So I kept it very simple with a photo that took up most of the space on the left-hand side. That seems to be my go-to this year. I really love large horizontal photos, and I'm just embracing that. So I put the main family photo down along with some gold washi just for a pop of sparkle, and I also used a black 6, and I pulled out some of the vellum strips that were in the main kit and used those. I also used a sparkly gold chipboard that came in the main kit, and I'm really loving those and using a bunch of those, so I just love it. Now, when my photographer sent me the photos, I honestly started tearing up. I loved the photos. There were so many that I loved. I somehow managed to pick 4 favorites for the right-hand side. So I have one of my husband and I, one of my son, one of my daughter, and then my 2 kids acting like they like each other. So I included those ones, and in the middle of it, I put another vellum strip that says laughing all the way, which works perfect because the photographer had us doing like silly poses, and it made us laugh. We were all laughing. And even my photographer friend was like, I know this is ridiculous, but let's just do it. Because there was a lot of poses where we were just laughing at each other or just like go with it. Especially my teenage son. He's like, Mom, seriously? And I'm like, yes, seriously, do the pose and let's just get it over with. I also added in 2 wood veneer. I switched out what stars I wanted to use several different times, but I wound up going with just a simple wood veneer star, and I decided to add in just a line or 2 of journaling about what these photos actually are. Mind you, these photos, I think we took them at the end of November. But I figured I knew I was going to include them in my album somehow and on some day. So the 6th worked the best. And I just got to punch those holes and then this one will be done. Very simple, like I said. And then we'll move on to 7. And for the 7th, the day did not go the way I wanted. And instead of doing like a bah humbug type thing, I just decided to include this photo cuddling with my daughter and reading our books together, and on the left-hand side enjoying our favorite show called Hilda. If you have a young child, like under 10, you should definitely watch this show. It's in its 3rd season, and my daughter and I cannot get enough of it. It is the best. And so we watched that, and we had some cookies, and I took the rest of the space and added on this tree paper, and I just love it. I just love it. I knew I didn't want a full page photo, so this green paper works perfect. And I also knew that I wanted to use this documenting card because the day really did have 2 components to it. It had the great ending, but there was a really cruddy part to the middle of it. I had a dentist appointment, and my dentist was, I guess, so nice that he gave me twice the amount of numbing stuff, and it took forever for my mouth to stop being numb, and I was just so not full of energy. I even took a nap too, so that was kind of a bummer. part of the day. But like I said, it ended great hanging out with my daughter, having cookies and reading in bed together. I wanted to give the number 7 a little pop. So I punched out a 2-inch circle with that light green star paper, and I just love it. And I put it right in the middle of a cluster of trees. So to me, it almost looked like a beautiful star in the forest. I don't know. That's what I'm going with. I then grabbed my double-sided adhesive and I'm going to put some down. I'm really into double-sided adhesive tape. I want nothing to fall off, and I want to come back years from now with nothing falling off. So all the double-sided adhesive tape. So I also want to put like a tree over on the documenting card, but I'm going to do that in just a little bit. I want to make sure that I add in my journaling. So the left-hand side is going to be kind of the bah humbug thing, and I'm just going to talk about how I had a dentist appointment. It went fine. I didn't feel anything, but it just didn't go as planned because I was just wiped out and I was really hungry and I couldn't eat and my mouth was numb. I could barely even open my mouth. I was talking so weird. And I just felt really unproductive, but the situation was totally out of my hands. So I took a nap and my kids had to fend for themselves. No, I'm kidding. My kids are like teenagers at this point. They'll be fine. And then the right-hand side, this is where I talked about the upside, how my kids did great while I rested. My daughter even made a plate of her own snacks, which she never does, but seeing mom nap and not feeling great, I guess, prompted her to take care of herself. I also said the evening included watching the start of season 3 of Hilda, which is, like I said, our favorite. And of course, we had cookies to celebrate, and cookies were so mushy that I could shove them into my mouth. So it was great. And then we finished up our day with snuggling in bed reading. And I don't know if you can see it, but in the top left-hand corner, my daughter is doing like the rock on sign because she learned how to do that from Masked Singer. So I love it. I love it. And mind you, I am totally squashed in her bed. Like, I do not fit side by side with her anymore. But, we do all kinds of things for our kids, right? So I made myself fit. This is where I'm going to cut out a tree. I thought it would be fun to just place it right in the middle of the documenting. And then I'll use a few of the stars from the chipboard sheet and call it done. So just like sprinkling some stars in the forest on the left-hand side and just a small cluster above the documenting card, and that will wrap it all up. And I think it turned out beautiful. It's so fun to sometimes just focus on one color scheme and pull out one color scheme from a kit. And for me, that is usually easier than, say, like trying to blend all the colors together. Like, they go together because it's a kit, but somehow there's some component of it that is intimidating. So you're just like, oh my goodness, I cannot put these things together, even though it's a kit. So for me, the easiest way is just pulling out the green. And like I said, when I saw this documenting card, I knew it would be perfect to document the 2 sides of this day. So now I can put it in the album, and I can use the back of this pocket page to start documenting the 8th, which was a Friday. And Friday has a whole new meaning now that I work, and Friday is the best. So there is 7 all wrapped up, and it looks fantastic. All right, so for 8, I want to do the back of the pocket page, and I also want to include the photos that I forced my children to take in front of the Christmas tree. I do it every year, getting photos of them in front of the tree. So I told them to just, it's for Grandma and Oma, and at least I'm not making you eat a plate of veggies. So just deal with it. I had these craft tags from a couple years ago, and so I wanted to use one of those with a tree, and then I just cut the kid's photo to fit, and it looks so awesome on the back of it. I'm going to have a little size issue at the end of this, but I'm going to fix it pretty easily, even though I was kind of frustrated with myself, but that's okay. Once again, using the double-sided adhesive tape to make sure this sticks onto my tag, but I did staple the 8 before I added the tape, and it works out great to have that double-sided adhesive tape there. I don't know what my issue was here with it like jumping all over the page, but I finally got it to stick down, and now I'm going to add some journaling lines to today's details. That way I can talk about the week and what was going on during the week. So I love adding pencil lines so that way I know I get my journaling straight, because I cannot add them afterwards. I just can't. In my little stash drawer full of die cuts and miscellaneous pieces, I found these craft type word strips, and those work perfect because I have the craft tag. So I grabbed one that says "This is real life right now," and now I'll write about the details. So I said, thank goodness it's Friday. It's been a doozy of a week with a lot of highs and lows, plus the cold weather and kids' activities. And I said, overall, I rated this week at about a C. It was just a C. There was the awful dentist appointment that didn't help, and I wasn't able to exercise as much, but there was plenty of ups and joys too. Wednesday evening, I was able to be home alone. You guys, I went crazy with a bunch of spinach dip and root beer, so it was the best. And Tuesday evening, my daughter was really brave and tried out a Girl Scout meeting. My son is also doing amazing with his homework, which is just the best. And I'm continuing to do my best, and I'm doing pretty awesome. So we made it to Friday, and I had to snap a quick selfie after school. And if you look closely, you can see that my daughter is not thrilled about the selfie, but I took it anyways. And now it's in the album forever. So I have the journaling all done, and I can move on to the little collage of photos that I have of the kids and all their crazy poses as I'm trying to get just one shot. For me, it always works better to just use a sand eraser instead of my pencil eraser. It just works better. I will put today's detail on top and the photo of us on the bottom. I flipped the tag of the kids, and I'm grabbing the other side of these photos. I think I went with 2x3, something like that, or maybe 3.5x2. But like I said, I have a ton of poses of them. My son was trying to lay on the ground like he's some sort of, I don't know, beach model. I have no idea. And then he flipped around and tried to like knock his sister down. And then my daughter's giving him a mean look, like she wants to beat him up. And then they did like a prison mug shot face, and it's just shenanigans all the time. So I'll take all the shots, and I love them, and I will include all of them. So I just stack them in a vertical grid, and I leave one spot to add in a red polka dot paper that coordinates perfectly with today's detail, because it has the gold in it as well. And I start adhering the photos on the left-hand side, but realize it would be smarter to add them on the right-hand side. That way I can make sure that I am close to the right-hand side of the page, because I do not want the photos to touch the holes. I do not want that. And at first I thought I'd use these felt gold stitched trees, but when I went looking for embellishments or other types of embellishments, I found some chipboard trees. So I'm going to go ahead and go with those chipboard trees. I think what I was looking for was actually a label for a little bit of journaling on the red piece of paper. So that's how I found those chipboard trees. I also picked out a few more word strip phrases. I have all day, every day to put on the main photo, and then grateful for this moment to put over on the right-hand side. So I grabbed a label and the chipboard trees, and I will go ahead and use those instead. So this little label just says that I wanted to get my yearly Christmas tree photos of these two, and of course the antics ensued. Hilarious, lovable, and sew them right now. I love that I thought of adding in a label for a little bit of journaling because it's perfect. I always try to include a little bit of journaling. It's just something that's kind of ingrained in me now at this point that I have to include some piece of journaling to explain the photos. Swapping out the trees for the chipboard ones, and then I'll put everything together and wrap up this page, and I will have 3 more pages done, and I'm moving along in this project. I'm not sure how many pages I will get to show you guys, but I am enjoying making my album and putting it together. It's definitely a different season, like I talked about in the beginning of the month. So I wanted to make the all-day word strip just a little bit skinnier, but the everyday one a little chunkier. So I just gave each of them a little haircut and stacked them right on top of each other in the negative space of the photo. And then once I get everything in the album, I'll just do a quick little flip through for you guys to see all the pages together. But first, you are going to see me struggle with getting the tag to attach to the album. I did not want to punch holes in the craft thing. I just did not. But I always forget that if I'm going to do some sort of tab, I need to add the tab as I'm putting together the craft tag and the photo. Like, it needs to go in as I'm putting those together as part of the layers. I can't add it at the end. I always forget that I cannot add a tabbed insert or a paper insert. I just can't do it at the end. I always forget. So I tried the Ali Edwards ones, and those aren't going to work. So then I decided to make a paper tabbed insert and fold it over to make it just a little bit thicker, and I will attach it to my tag, but I'm gonna have to attach it by opening up the tag and the photo, so kind of ripping the adhesive apart, because like I said, you have to add it before you put everything together, so it needs to be in the middle of the sandwich, and I always forget that. So I will just open this up and finagle its way into there. I then kind of run into the issue of how is this going to sit in my album, and before I press it down, I wanted to make sure I have it sitting where I want it and have the tabbed insert where I want it. So I think I have it, and I go ahead and smush it. You can see how I just did it, and now I flip it over to add a little more adhesive and realize that this tag is like hanging down about 1/4 inch, and it's going to drive me nuts. So I just trim it off. That way I can move on and stop messing with it, because I'm not going to keep messing with it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing all of these pages come together. This is the little flip through of all 3 of the pages, 6, 7, and 8. I would love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you are new to my channel. Have a wonderful day. Bye.